Hey everybody, happy Thanksgiving. This is Legislative Weekly, and I'm your host, John, here to let you know what your government has been up to. So first up, we have Bill C-415, a very interesting piece of legislation which was introduced in the House last week. What C-415 does is it creates a special procedure to expunge any cannabis possession related charges on a person's criminal record. Now, this is a very, very interesting thing as cannabis is going to become legalized on October 17th. And while there is already a pardons process in place for people who want to have their records cleaned up, the idea behind this bill is that in a post-legalization Canada, we should be giving the people who were convicted in the past an easier way to get a fresh, clean start. Now, there has been some criticism of this bill, and I can see where people are coming from. I mean, at the time these people were convicted, cannabis possession was illegal, regardless of its legality nowadays. And, in terms of upholding the rule of law and respect for it, yeah, there's something to be said. At the same time, though, according to the report, there are 500,000 Canadians who are currently living with a pot possession-related conviction on their record. I don't see these people as a threat. I don't see these people, frankly, as hardened criminals or people who have dealt a severe blow to the integrity of our society. I see a lot of these people, frankly, as people who have made a bad choice, who are in the wrong place at the wrong time, and frankly, people who have done the time. These people were charged. These people were taken through the criminal justice process. These people were fined. These people were jailed. These people, because of these convictions, have had tougher times finding a job and finding a home. Frankly, I think we have punished them enough. In a post-legalization nation, we should really be looking to ways to move forward and make sure that all these people who have suffered because of this drug can now get back on their feet. And I think this bill is a great start in doing that. The question then is whether this bill will even be successful in passing, and it's tough to say. Bill C-415 is a private member's bill, as it was introduced by the NDP, but interestingly enough, it has gotten support from other parties, including from Maxime Bernier. So it is quite interesting to see how his politics has diverged from the Conservative Party ever since his split earlier this season. So next up we have Bill C-78, which contains a lot of amendments to the Divorce Act. So a lot of these changes to the Divorce Act merely take the form of language shifts. According to the government, their purpose in doing this was to try to shift it towards more child-friendly language. This includes changing stuff like custody to parenting orders, and stuff like access to parenting time. The goal is, with a friendlier language, disputes are less likely to become escalated, and hopefully both parties can arrive at conclusions that are a little bit better for the kid. I'm not sure how well this is gonna work in practice, frankly. I mean, I feel like the idea of custody and access are so baked into the idea of divorce now that I have a very tough time seeing parents switching over to stuff like parenting orders and parenting time. That being said, however, this will have a marked effect on the language that lawyers are using in these disputes. So maybe if the legal professionals themselves are using more collegial language, this effect will pass on to the parents and hopefully breed less enmity in the process of these very, very difficult disputes. A more meaningful change, in my opinion, is that family lawyers, if this bill passes, are compelled to advise their clients to go to mediation or alternative dispute resolution. Now, family law is notoriously adversarial, and the family court system is notoriously slow and costly. So I do think that by encouraging lawyers to actually, get their clients to sort it out without heading off into courts and going through the hoorah of litigation, I think, this is a change that will hopefully save a lot of money, not only for the divorcees, but also for the court systems and the taxpayers as a whole. Last up on the list is Bill C-326, which has passed first reading in the Senate. This is the bill that will establish a national standard for drinking water. Yeah, I know. When I first read it, I wasn't sure what I was reading because I thought thought for sure that something like that would have already existed, but apparently not. So when this bill does pass, Canada will join 110 other countries with actual enforceable water standards nationally. Now, this is a problem that has gotten a fair bit of attention in the media. In 2017, a report was released stating that over 150 First Nations communities around Canada have active drinking water advisories, and that 70 of these advisories have been in place for a long term. These are people in a first world country without access to clean drinking water, something which, frankly, I think is a little embarrassing. So, yeah, this won't solve everything, but hopefully once this bill passes, we can start making nationwide action in terms of ensuring that Canadians have access to the bare necessities to keep life going. So that wraps up this week's Legislative Weekly. Thank you for tuning in. If you do have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I'll do my best to respond. And just so you know, we are active on social media. So if you would like live updates on exactly what your government is doing, please follow us on Facebook or Twitter at Codify Legal Publishing. Thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you again next week.